So the Jags are headed in the right direction. Rams, meanwhile, trending the opposite way. Just 1 year after winning the Super Bowl, LA will wrap up its season today with a losing record for the first time under head coach Sean McVay. And now sources say his immediate future with the franchise is in limbo. Our ESPN insider, Adam Schefter, has more.
Sean McVay was tempted to leave the National Football League last offseason when he could have pursued any number of television broadcasting jobs. This season, there may be similar opportunities, but make no mistake, this season has taken a toll on Sean McVay. The losing, the injuries, the stress, it piles up with the short season that he's been through, and it causes anybody, especially somebody like Sean McVay, to ponder their future. It's why multiple people believe after this season ends on Sunday, McVay will take some time, process all the information, and then try to come to a decision about what's best for him moving forward.
Some more head-coaching news from Adam Schefter this morning as well, as sources tell him Denver has received permission from the Saints to interview Sean Payton. New Orleans still holds his contractual rights after Payton stepped down in January after 15 seasons with the Saints. Denver looking to replace Nathaniel Hackett after he was fired in December after the 4-11 start.
This is what it's all about. And we got just 60 minutes to find out who's going to win this ball game.
I need everybody eyes up. Let's take it back. Reflect real quick.
How good can this team be? I have no idea. I think real good.
There is something special going on.
Let's go!
I want to do something that's never been done.
The defending champs are focused and ready to go.
As far as history goes, you look at teams that played for national championships, typically they're not picked 7th in their conference.
The magic continues for TCU.
60 minutes of hell, and that's the way we like it.
Georgia is going to survive and earn the right to defend their national championship in LA.
Confetti is going to be falling Monday night. College football playoff national championship game between number 1 Georgia and number 3 TCU. The Bulldogs seeking to become the first back-to-back national champs since Bama did it in 2011 and 2012. Kevin Nagandi anchors our coverage from Los Angeles.
Well, less than a year after hosting Super Bowl 56, Los Angeles once again taking center stage with the College Football Playoff National Championship on Monday night on ESPN between number 1 Georgia and number 3 TCU here at SoFi Stadium. And one thing we saw in the Peach Bowl was C.J. Stroud moving outside the structure of the pocket versus Georgia's defense. 70 yards on the ground, the most in the season for Stroud. 12 rushing attempts. He also picked up 27 yards on 1 carry. And here with Desmond Howard and David Pollack on the field, as we're going to see Monday night, these two teams. One thing that stands out is Max Duggan's going to run. Yeah. I mean, last 2 games, 30 carries, 167 total yards. Yeah. When you look at Duggan and the game plan here against Georgia's defense, do you anticipate more of that?
Absolutely. I mean, we've watched him all year long. We got a chance to see him in a couple games live. And the thing that he does so well is he can improvise. He's a lot faster than you anticipate, especially for his size. But, man, he reminds me of a Tim Tebow, like a right-handed Tim Tebow. Loves the contact. He's not going to get out there in space. And he moves around the pocket just well enough to get the ball off, too. Great feel for the pocket. Excellent receivers he can get the ball to. He's going to make plays in space. But I tell you what, he's probably the best dual-threat quarterback that Georgia's defense has faced all year long.
One thing you're going to see with his offense, too, is tempo. And specifically with Max Duggan here. Georgia's defensive front, they seem to be okay with C.J. Stroud moving around. Why is it going to be different with Duggan?
Well, I think tempo is an interesting point because Ohio State had some success with tempo against Georgia, so I would hit the gas a lot. But listen, C.J. Stroud, Des, we ain't seen this before.
No,
like, I've never seen this movie. Like, you wanted to make him move his feet, get outside the pocket a little bit, but look at C.J. Stroud refusing to go down, making these scramble plays in big-time moments, big-time plays. So we weren't accustomed to that. No, Georgia knows Max Duggan wants to do that. That's who he is. Yep. That's who he wants to be. So your plan will be a little bit different, but make no mistake, Duggan's legs will be one of the most important factors in this game.
What is that plan? Bookends, stay right there and contain?
As opposed to going up and under and forcing a guy to scramble, now you go outside and you keep that bird in the cage. You know what I'm saying? Like you close it in and you make me beat you from in here and keep that outside contained.
And you put a spy on them too.
And you can do that as well.
By the way, a lot of people talk about how this Georgia defense, very similar similar to Michigan's defense. The last time we saw Max Duggan, 57 yards against that Michigan defense on the ground. We'll see how that plays out, of course, as we get you ready for Monday night and the national championship. Duggan, Bennett, the Heisman finalists. You get it your way on ESPN, 7:30 Eastern time. We will see you from SoFi Stadium in LA on Monday.
Capital One Bowl Mania Preview is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
The Patriots currently have that 7th and final spot with an 8-8 record and hold tiebreakers over the Dolphins and the Steelers. But if they defeat the Bills and Buffalo, they're into the playoffs. The Dolphins also 8-8, but lose the tiebreaker to the Patriots based on Miami's worst win percentage in division games. So the Dolphins make the playoffs with a win over the Jets and a loss by New England. And the Steelers, how about them? Their streak of 18 consecutive non-losing seasons since 2003, it's on the line against the Browns. Pittsburgh needs a win and losses by Miami and New England to make the playoffs.
After starting off 2-6, the Steelers are mathematically alive for the playoffs, and it's not impossible that they make it in this week. They have to beat the Browns, and they also need losses by the Dolphins and the Patriots. After starting out 2-6, that's a pretty remarkable turnaround. And I asked Miles Jack, what was it like when this team was, 2-6 to start, now turned into 6-2? And he said, on other teams I've been on, when it starts out that poorly, it's like the house is on fire. Everyone's worried about losing their job. Mortgages are at stake. But here it was like, let's just see what happens and let's get better. He said he kept waiting for people to sound the alarms, sound the fire alarms, and that never happened. The Steelers stayed the course, and for that, he credits Mike Tomlin.
There's a few streaks the Dolphins are looking to snap Sunday against the Jets, most important of which is their playoff drought. They haven't made the postseason since 2016, but they can clinch a berth with a win over the Jets and a Patriots loss to the Bills. It'll be Skylar Thompson, the 7th-round rookie out of Kansas State, making his second career start, and he's looking to become the first Dolphins backup quarterback this season to finish a game he started. Coach Mike McDaniel poked fun at what's felt like a curse hanging over the Dolphins' head this year, but he said Thompson had an outstanding week of practice. He's showing real command of the offense, and he thinks that this team is rallying around him as they look to snap a 5-game losing streak that's threatening to derail a once promising season.
Bill Belichick.
Patriots a 41% chance to earn the AFC final wild card spot.
All right, Kelsey, before the NFL got back to on-field business on Saturday, we saw honors and love for that man, Damar Hamlin. Bill's safety went into cardiac arrest during Monday night's game in Cincinnati. You see Allegiant Stadium out there in Las Vegas ahead of that Chiefs-Raiders game. Patrick Mahomes wearing that custom hoodie, like what 2 tight ends in this one. Darren Waller, Travis Kelce wearing custom shirts of support. Jaguars, Titans kneeling in prayer before their game. Even the number 3 in the 30-yard line there in Jacksonville decked out in Bill's red. Yeah, to show Hamlin that the league continues to think about him. Mike Vrabel, Andy Reid also showing their support. Hamlin posting this on Instagram, quote, "When you put real love out into the world, it comes back to you 3 times as much. The love has been overwhelming, but I'm thankful for every single person that prayed for me and reached out. We brought the world back together behind this. If you know me, you know this is only going to make me stronger on a long road. Keep praying for me." Coley Harvey continuing to anchor our coverage here on SportsCenter from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. And Coley, certainly Damar Hamlin remains in critical condition there under serious medical watch, and it appears to be making continued progress. What have you learned from those closest to him about his recovery?
Randy, the primary thing that I've learned is that there is a sense of understanding with Damar Hamlin. He understands what has happened to him, and there's that gratitude that you saw in that message of love and support coming directly from him. Now, I did have a chance, as you just mentioned, speaking to some members of his family. I spoke with his uncle, Dorian Glenn, here last night at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, and he says the primary thing right now for DeMar is rest. That's what the doctors are trying to make sure the family understands, that as much talking as he's doing, as active as DeMar is right now in terms of recognizing them and having those levels of communication, it's still about rest. So he hasn't been pushed too much with some of the conversation. Here's a little bit more of my conversation with Dorian last night.
But truly thankful for everybody involved in this whole process of just being there to help my nephew get back to recovery. From the first responder, Denny Kellington, I mean, shout out to him. I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame for what he did. I mean, I know it was a staff that assisted him, but his hands ultimately, you know, saved my nephew's life and got him a chance to even make it to the hospital. The hospital staff, I mean, everybody has truly been, you know, great in just helping us to deal with this tragedy and, you know, ultimately get us to this finish line. Like I was telling my nephew the other day, you know, Monday night, you was my nephew. By the end of the week, you was America's nephew. And I really mean that. So I'm truly thankful for everybody's prayers and continued support.
What did he say when you said that?
I just started smiling, and it made me smile. And I ain't smiled all week. So it was truly a blessing to witness that.
That smile that you've heard Dorian Glenn reference there, that's something that all of us around this hospital campus have started doing. And when it comes to this family, there were some serious dark days early on this week. Glenn telling me that there was a chance at one point that this would have gone a completely different direction. So the roller coaster of emotion is something that this Hamlin family certainly has been feeling throughout the last several days. In terms of today, I'm still gathering information to find out whether DeMar Hamlin will be able to watch the Bills-Patriots game. Because he's in the ICU, that makes matters a little more challenging in terms of getting the TVs and projectors set up for him. His family has had a nice setup of a conference room kind of off to the side so that they can avoid other people's families who are in the ICU, because again, this isn't just this one family dealing with this. There are so many others who have their own medical concerns right now in this building as well. So the family has been good about staying away, giving those people their privacy and their space as well. But that being said, the hospital and the Bills are working on something to make sure that DeMar can watch his teammates today, Randy.
It's incredible. It really is. And his uncle echoes the sentiment of a nation that does think of him as family here and saying, man, we haven't smiled in a week. Yes. Finally something to smile about. That's Coley Harvey with us from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Thank you.
Such good.